She said, "Don't touch me again." I just smiled and did it anyway. He pulled off his helmet, letting the alien wind brush against his face. It felt alive, almost like the planet itself was watching him. Liam had heard many stories about Vyrlia before coming here. It was a world ruled by an alien council, and humans rarely came this far into their territory. Most of the humans who did never returned. He adjusted the strap of his tool bag and looked around. Towering structures made of a shimmering crystal-like material stretched high into the sky. The buildings glowed faintly, pulsing like living things. Liam could feel a strange energy coming from them. This was a city built for aliens, not humans, and yet it had a strange beauty that made his chest tighten with awe. A shadow moved near one of the tall towers. Liam squinted. A figure was walking toward him, slender, tall, with a skin tone that shimmered like silver in the light. Her movements were precise and controlled, but there was something alive in her every step. She wore a form of armor over her chest and shoulders that looked light but strong. Every movement of hers screamed authority. Liam's stomach turned in a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had been sent here to help with the integration of human technology, but he hadn't expected to meet someone like her. The figure stopped a few meters away and looked directly at him. Her eyes were sharp, bright, and intelligent. Liam froze for a moment under her gaze. She tilted her head slightly and said in a voice that was soft but commanding, "You are the human." Liam nodded, swallowing. "Yes, I'm Liam Hayes. I was sent to help with the Energy Interface project." The alien woman's eyes narrowed slightly, scanning him as if she could see right through his thoughts. "I am Kayla," she said. "I am the daughter of the Council. You will follow my instructions while on this world. Do not interfere with what you do not understand." Liam nodded quickly. "Of course, Kayla, I will follow your instructions." He tried to keep his voice steady, but inside he was already fascinated. This was not just an alien, it was the child of the ruling council. Meeting someone like her in person was more intimidating than anything he had ever faced. Kayla turned sharply and began to walk toward the tower. Liam followed, keeping a careful distance. As they moved, he noticed how precise every step she took was. Even the smallest gestures seemed measured. He tried to imagine what it would be like to live like this all the time, every action watched, every movement calculated. Humans were different. Liam thought about his life back on Earth. Back home, mistakes were normal. People laughed at them, learned from them, and moved on. Here, one mistake could cost him his life. They reached a large platform at the base of the tower. Liam's tools and portable equipment were set up nearby. Kayla stopped and looked at the interface panel built into the crystal structure. Her fingers, long and slender, hovered over the controls. Liam noticed her fingers had small ridges and markings that glowed faintly in the light. Every movement seemed delicate, yet controlled with the strength of someone used to command. Kayla turned to him. "You will help me connect the human energy modules to the interface," she said. "But do not touch anything without my permission. Do you understand?" "Yes, I understand," Liam replied. He had a strange urge to touch the glowing modules and see what they felt like, but he resisted. Kayla glanced at him, her eyes narrowing. "Do not touch me," she added suddenly with a sharpness that made Liam jump. "Do not touch me again." Liam blinked. He had not touched her, but he could not help the small smile that appeared on his face. There was something challenging and almost playful in her tone, and it made him want to test her boundaries, not to insult her, but because humans were naturally curious. "I won't unless you let me," he said quietly, almost to himself. Kayla's eyes flicked to him, and he felt the weight of her gaze like a physical force. For a moment, the air between them felt charged, as if the planet itself was waiting to see what would happen. Kayla stepped closer to the interface, brushing past him without touching him. Liam's heart raced. Every time she moved, there was a grace to her that made him want to understand her, to know what she was thinking. But he reminded himself that this was not a game. He had a job to do. He began unpacking his tools, carefully placing them next to the panel. He could feel Kayla's eyes on him, following every movement. It was unsettling and exciting at the same time. He connected the first module to the interface, and the panel lit up with a soft blue glow. Energy flowed through the crystal structure like water, and Liam felt a small thrill. Kayla looked at the flow and nodded slightly. "Not bad for a human," she said. Her voice had a hint of approval, though it was hidden behind her usual stern tone. Liam felt a small surge of pride. "Thank you," he said. "It's a good interface. Your design helps a lot." Kayla's eyes flicked to him again. Do not assume I need your praise, she said. Her lips curved slightly, almost imperceptibly. Liam noticed, and he smiled again, feeling a strange connection. They continued working, side by side. Liam handed her tools, adjusted connections, and observed her method. Kayla worked quickly, efficiently, and with precision. Every time she moved, the glowing energy panels reacted. It was like watching a dance where every step mattered. At one point, Liam had to reach past her to adjust a small panel. He tried to be careful, but his sleeve brushed against her arm lightly. Kayla froze. Her eyes narrowed sharply. "Do not touch me," she snapped, stepping back. Liam held up his hands. "I'm sorry, that was accidental," he said, but the small smile on his face betrayed his amusement. Kayla's glare intensified, but there was a flicker of something else, curiosity, perhaps, or a challenge. "I will not forgive mistakes like that again," she said. "I'll try my best," Liam said softly. "But sometimes humans are a little clumsy." He smiled, and she looked at him in disbelief, as if she could not understand why he was not trembling or fearful. The rest of the day passed with them working in tense cooperation. Liam noticed how Kayla's posture changed slightly when she realized he understood her work quickly. She began giving fewer warnings and allowed him to operate parts of the interface without constant supervision. Liam found it thrilling to see her defenses lower, even slightly. As the twin suns of Virlia began to set, casting long purple shadows across the crystal city, Kayla finally stepped back from the interface. "You have completed the first stage," she said. "The human modules are compatible with the Virlian interface, but there is more work to do. Tomorrow we continue." Liam nodded. "I'll be ready." Kayla glanced at him, her gaze softening just a fraction. "Do not think your smile will make me careless around you," she said. Liam chuckled quietly. "I don't plan to," he said, though he could not hide the thrill he felt. Despite her warnings, he felt a strange bond forming. Kayla was unlike anyone he had ever met, proud, intelligent, strong, and yet there was a flicker of something human in her reactions. As he walked back to his quarters later that evening, Liam could not stop thinking about Kayla. Her warning, her sharp gaze, and even her anger had a strange effect on him. He knew she was testing him as much as he was testing her, and he could not wait to see what would happen next. The next morning, Liam woke up before the twin suns fully rose. He had slept little, his mind racing with thoughts about Kayla. Her sharp eyes, her commanding presence, and even her warnings haunted him. He remembered the way she had glared at him yesterday when his sleeve brushed against her arm. Most humans would have been scared, but Liam had found himself strangely drawn to the challenge. He pulled on his uniform and grabbed his tool bag, ready to face another day of work. As he stepped out onto the crystal pathway, he could see Kayla waiting near the interface platform. She was standing perfectly still, her eyes fixed on the horizon. Her posture was rigid, almost like a statue, but her eyes flicked to him the moment he approached. "You are early," Kayla said, her voice calm but firm. "I like to be prepared," Liam replied, smiling lightly. "I want to make sure we finish the next stage without problems." Kayla's eyes narrowed, but there was no sharpness in her tone this time. "Good. Then follow my instructions exactly. Mistakes today will not be forgiven." Liam nodded. "Understood." They began their work. Today, the task was more complicated. The energy modules had to be connected to the city's power grid. One wrong connection could shut down half the city or worse, cause damage to the crystal towers. Liam moved carefully, following Kayla's precise instructions. She pointed, he adjusted, and together they made slow but steady progress. As they worked, Liam noticed that Kayla's reactions to him were changing. She no longer flinched when he got close, but her gaze remained sharp, watching his every move. There was a tension between them, a silent game of boundaries and trust. Liam found it exciting. Humans were not always allowed to get this close to alien rulers, but he felt something in him telling him to keep going. At one point, he had to pass a glowing energy rod to Kayla. Their hands brushed briefly. Kayla's eyes widened slightly, and she stepped back quickly. "Do not touch me," she said, her voice low and firm. "I'm sorry," Liam said, holding his hands up. Then he added with a small smile, "I won't touch you unless you let me." Kayla stared at him for a moment. Liam could almost see the wheels turning in her mind. She was not used to humans who did not fear her or obey without question. He sensed a flicker of curiosity, even amusement in her sharp gaze. They continued working, their movements perfectly coordinated. Liam noticed how Kayla's fingers moved over the control panels with incredible skill. Every motion seemed deliberate, precise, and powerful. She was unlike any engineer or leader he had ever met. Liam found himself studying her, learning not just the work, but the way she thought and moved. As the day went on, they faced a small problem. One of the energy modules began to overheat, the glowing panels flickering dangerously. Liam acted quickly, adjusting the module before it could cause a failure. Kayla watched him closely, her eyes narrowing. "You are bold," she said finally. "Most humans would have panicked." Liam shrugged lightly. "Humans are used to making mistakes and fixing them," he said. "We don't give up easily." Kayla's lips curved slightly. It was the closest Liam had seen to a smile from her. "Perhaps your audacity is useful," she said quietly, almost to herself. Liam felt a thrill. She had called his boldness useful. That was more than praise, it was recognition. He smiled, careful not to overdo it. Kayla was watching him too closely for foolishness. They took a short break, standing side by side on the platform. Liam looked out over the glowing city. The sun's rays reflected off the crystal towers, casting light in every direction. It was beautiful, but also strange, almost alive. He thought about the Virelians, how different their lives were from humans, and how dangerous it was to live here. Yet he could not stop thinking about Kayla. "You are not afraid," Kayla said suddenly, breaking the silence. Liam turned to her. "Afraid of what?" "You, this place, the work, most humans would be trembling." "I am cautious, not afraid," Liam said with a shrug. "Fear doesn't help in my work, it slows you down." Kayla studied him, her head tilted slightly. Liam felt as if she were weighing him, deciding if he was a risk or an ally. "You are unusual for a human," she said finally. "Unusual?" Liam asked. "You do not shrink from danger. You do not obey blindly, you are bold," Kayla said, "and humans are not like that usually." Liam smiled softly. "I think humans can be bold when they have to be. We have to survive after all." Kayla said nothing after that, but Liam could feel her studying him even more closely. It was both uncomfortable and thrilling. He was breaking through her defenses slowly, carefully, without even trying to. After their break, they returned to the work. The next stage was to connect the final set of modules. Liam had to climb onto a narrow platform near Kayla to reach the upper connections. He was careful, but as he adjusted one of the panels, his hand brushed lightly against her arm again. Kayla froze. Liam quickly pulled back. "I'm sorry," he said again. "You must be more careful," she said, her voice tight. "I will," Liam said, but he could not hide the small smile. He knew he had made an impression. Humans were often underestimated by the Virelians, and he liked proving that boldness could be effective. The final module was installed without further incident. Energy flowed through the interface, lighting up the city like a web of glowing veins. Liam stepped back, breathing heavily. Kayla watched him quietly, her eyes still sharp, but now with a flicker of respect. "You completed the work," Kayla said finally. "The human modules are fully integrated. The city's energy system is stable." Liam nodded, feeling a small surge of pride. "We did it together," he said. Kayla's eyes met his, and for a brief moment the tension between them changed. It was no longer just about caution or warnings. There was something more, a silent acknowledgement of each other's skill and determination. "You are different," Kayla said quietly, almost to herself. "I think you are too," Liam said softly, and this time Kayla did not flinch at his words. As they descended from the platform, Liam noticed that Kayla was walking slightly closer to him than before. It was subtle, but he recognized the change. She was no longer keeping him at a strict distance, though she still maintained her sharp and commanding presence. They reached the base of the tower where Liam's tools were packed. Kayla stopped and looked at him. "You will rest tonight. Tomorrow we continue with the secondary systems," she said. "I'll be ready," Liam replied, smiling lightly, "and I promise to be careful." Kayla's eyes flicked to him again, and for a brief moment there was a softness there. "Do not think your smile will make me careless around you," she said, but there was no anger in her tone this time. Liam chuckled quietly. "I don't plan to, I just like seeing it." Kayla blinked as if she could not understand why he was not intimidated by her. But Liam noticed something. She did not warn him this time. She did not step back. She let him walk beside her, closer than she had allowed before. As the twin suns set again, casting the city in long purple shadows, Liam felt a strange mix of excitement and caution. Kayla was proud, strong, and fierce. She was not someone who would trust easily, and yet he felt that he was slowly earning her acknowledgement. For Liam, this was only the beginning. He knew tomorrow would bring new challenges and the work would only get harder. But he could not stop thinking about Kayla. Her warnings, her sharp gaze, and even her subtle hints of approval were intoxicating. And Liam knew one thing for certain: he was not afraid. Not of the work, not of the city, and certainly not of Kayla. The next day, Liam woke to the sound of alarms. The twin suns were just rising, casting a red and orange glow across the crystal towers, but the city was already in chaos. The air was filled with a low, vibrating hum, and the energy panels across the city flickered dangerously. Something was wrong. He grabbed his tool bag and ran out of his quarters. People, humans and aliens alike, were running through the streets, shouting warnings to each other. Liam's heart raced. He knew immediately that the energy system they had spent weeks integrating was under attack. He ran toward the interface platform, hoping Kayla was safe. As he approached, he could see her moving quickly along the upper platforms, her silver armor glinting in the sunlight. She was giving orders, pointing to the control panels and directing the Viorlian guards. Her movements were precise, controlled, and powerful. Liam felt both awe and fear. Kayla was fearless, but this was more dangerous than anything he had faced. "Kayla," Liam shouted as he reached the platform. "What's happening?" "The city is under attack," she shouted back without looking at him. "A rogue faction is trying to take the energy core. They want to destroy the interface." Liam's chest tightened. This was not a simulation. This was real, and the lives of thousands were at stake. "What can I do?" he asked, scanning the panels. Kayla finally turned to him. Her eyes were sharp, commanding, but there was also a flicker of worry. "Help me stabilize the modules. The core must not be disrupted. Follow my instructions exactly." "I'm ready," Liam said, gripping his tools tightly. They moved together like a team. Liam connected modules, rerouted energy, and followed Kayla's precise directions. Sparks flew from the panels, and the hum of the energy system grew louder. Liam's hands shook slightly, but he forced himself to focus. Every decision mattered. One wrong connection could destroy the city. Suddenly, a large energy rod erupted near Kayla. She had been standing too close to the core, and a small explosion sent debris flying. Liam saw it happen, and without thinking, he ran toward her. He lifted the heavy metal beam that had fallen near her and pulled her out of harm's way. Kayla stumbled, her silver armor scratched, but she was alive. "You shouldn't," she began, but Liam interrupted. "No time for warnings now," he shouted. "We need to finish this." Kayla's eyes widened for a moment. Most humans would have frozen, but Liam had acted without hesitation. She realized with a flicker of admiration that this human was different. He was bold, daring, and quick-thinking. He did not flinch at danger. They returned to the interface and worked faster. The rogue faction had started attacking the lower platforms, trying to cut the city's power supply. Liam climbed carefully to reconnect a damaged module, his hands moving as fast as he could without mistakes. Kayla watched him, occasionally giving directions, but now there was a new understanding between them. She no longer scolded him for being close. She knew he could handle it. A sudden explosion rocked the platform beneath them. Liam lost his balance for a moment and almost fell. Kayla reached out instinctively, grabbing his arm. Their eyes met, and for a brief second the world seemed to freeze. Liam felt the adrenaline, the fear, and the thrill all at once. Then he pulled himself up and got back to work. "Focus!" Kayla shouted over the ringing alarms. "We must stabilize the last modules." Liam nodded, his hands moving quickly. The energy rods were unstable, but he had memorized Kayla's methods from the previous days. Step by step, he reconnected the rods, adjusting the energy flow. Sparks shot around him, but he did not hesitate. Finally, the last module was connected. The panels glowed steadily, the hum of the energy system returning to normal. Liam slumped against the platform, breathing heavily. Kayla looked at him, her eyes sharp, but now filled with something else, respect and perhaps relief. "You did well," she said quietly. "Most humans would have failed." "I just did what needed to be done," Liam replied, still catching his breath. "We saved the city together." Kayla studied him for a moment. "You are fearless, you are not like other humans." Her voice was soft, almost unguarded. Liam felt a strange thrill. This was not just recognition of his skills, it was personal. Suddenly, another alarm rang, smaller this time. Liam frowned. "Another problem?" Kayla shook her head. "No, that is a warning from the council. They are watching us. They do not trust humans near the core." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Do you trust me?" Kayla hesitated. Her sharp gaze met his, and for a long moment she said nothing. Finally she spoke. "I respect your abilities, but trust that must be earned." Liam nodded. "I understand. I'll keep earning it." They descended from the platform together. Kayla walked beside him, close enough that he could feel her presence, but still distant. It was a strange balance: danger, tension, and a growing connection. Later, as the city began to recover from the attack, Liam worked on repairs with the Virelian engineers. Kayla supervised, occasionally giving him instructions. The rogue faction had been repelled, but the city's energy system had been strained. Every repair had to be precise. Liam noticed how the Virelian engineers watched him. Some were wary, some curious. They had never seen a human act with such courage under pressure. He felt a sense of pride, but also a quiet responsibility. This was not just about proving himself to Kayla, it was about keeping the city alive. Kayla approached him again. "You are bold, almost reckless at times," she said. "I take risks when necessary," Liam replied. "It's part of being human. We adapt, we survive." Kayla studied him for a moment, her lips curving slightly. "Your boldness, it is unusual, but it is effective. Do not misunderstand me, I am not praising you lightly." Liam smiled softly. "I wouldn't want it any other way." They worked together until the twin suns began to set again. The city was quiet now, the glow of the crystal towers returning to normal. Liam felt exhausted, but alive. Every nerve in his body was on edge, but he knew he had done something important. He had faced danger, helped save the city, and earned Kayla's respect, at least a little. As they prepared to leave the platform, Kayla spoke quietly. "You are not afraid of me or this work or danger. That is unusual for a human. Perhaps it is why I allow you to stay close." Liam felt a thrill at her words. "I'm not afraid because I have to be brave, and because I trust you." Kayla looked at him sharply, almost as if she were surprised he had said that. Then she turned and walked away, leaving Liam to follow. He knew that earning her trust would take time. But after today, he felt that they were no longer just human and alien, worker and overseer. There was a connection forming, quiet and cautious, but real. That night, as Liam lay in his quarters, he thought about the day. The danger, the chaos, and the thrill of saving Kayla had left him restless. He remembered the moment their hands had brushed, the moment she had reached out instinctively. He thought about the small flickers of approval he had seen in her eyes. He realized that Kayla was testing him, just as he was testing her. Each day, each interaction, each brush of contact was a silent battle of wills. And for the first time, Liam felt that he was not just surviving here. He was making a mark slowly, carefully on someone who seemed untouchable. He smiled to himself. Tomorrow would bring more work, more danger, and perhaps more moments like today. Liam knew he was ready. He was bold, he was human, and he would face whatever came next without hesitation. And Kayla had changed too. She had allowed him to get close, even if only a little. She had seen his courage and determination, and for the first time, she might have begun to see him as something more than just a human worker. The stars appeared over the crystal city, twinkling like distant fires. Liam stared at them, thinking of the challenges ahead. He was ready for whatever this alien world could throw at him, and he knew one thing with certainty: he would not back down. Not from danger, not from Kayla, not from anything, because he was human. And humans, he thought, always find a way. The morning after the attack, the city of Virelia was quiet, but the tension hung thick in the air. The rogue faction had been pushed back, but the energy system still needed attention. Liam packed his tools and headed toward the interface platform, feeling the familiar mix of excitement and nervousness. Kayla was already there, standing near the panels with her arms crossed. She had not said much since the previous day's events, and Liam could tell she was still analyzing him. "You are on time," Kayla said, her voice calm but precise. "I prefer to be early," Liam replied with a smile. "It helps me be ready." Kayla's eyes flicked to him, studying him carefully. "Preparedness is human, I suppose. Let us see if you can maintain it under pressure today." Liam's heart raced. He had earned some measure of respect yesterday, but Kayla's words reminded him that he was still under close scrutiny. He nodded. "I will do my best." The work for the day involved secondary systems, smaller but no less important. These systems controlled communications, surveillance, and emergency protocols across the city. Liam followed Kayla's instructions closely, handing her tools and adjusting panels as she directed. For the first time, he noticed something new. She allowed him to operate parts of the interface without constantly hovering over him. Her trust, though cautious, was growing. As they worked side by side, Liam tried to focus, but he could not help observing Kayla. She moved with precision, her fingers gliding over the control panels, her eyes sharp and alert. She seemed almost untouchable, yet there was a quiet grace in every motion. Liam wondered what it would be like to truly understand her, to know the thoughts behind her calm and calculating exterior. "You are bold," Kayla said suddenly, breaking the silence. "Most humans would fear this work, would panic at the thought of another attack." "I am cautious but not afraid," Liam replied. "Fear slows you down, courage keeps you moving." Kayla's eyes met his, and for a moment the sharpness in her gaze softened slightly. "You are unusual, perhaps your courage is human, but boldness without wisdom is dangerous." "I have wisdom," Liam said with a small smile, "and I've learned quickly from you." Kayla's lips curved slightly, almost imperceptibly. Liam felt a small thrill. She had acknowledged him, even if just a little. As the morning passed, Kayla began to engage him differently. She asked him questions about human technology, about how humans solved problems quickly and how they adapted under pressure. Liam answered carefully, knowing she was listening not just to the words but to the thought behind them. He realized that Kayla was testing him again, not with danger this time but with conversation. She wanted to see if he could keep up, if he could think like a leader, not just a worker. "You think quickly," she said at one point. "Most humans would have hesitated when the interface failed yesterday." "I react to what I see," Liam replied. "I trust my instincts and I trust the people I work with. That includes you." Kayla's eyes narrowed slightly, and for a moment Liam wondered if he had overstepped. Then she nodded. "Instinct is useful. Do not mistake it for recklessness, human. I will watch closely." The rest of the morning passed in a tense rhythm of work and quiet observation. Liam adjusted modules, rerouted energy, and followed Kayla's instructions, while she continued to test him with questions and challenges. At one point, she handed him a small tool and said, "You must connect this module precisely. One mistake and the secondary system fails." Liam nodded and worked carefully, feeling her eyes on him the entire time. He could sense her tension, the pressure she placed on him, but he did not falter. Finally, the module clicked into place and the panels lit up steadily. Kayla studied the readouts, then glanced at him. "You did well," she said softly. "Perhaps you are learning faster than I expected." Liam smiled lightly. "Thank you, you've taught me well." Kayla's eyes met his for a long moment. There was something unspoken in that look, a recognition, perhaps, that their partnership was no longer just work. Liam felt a strange thrill at the connection forming between them. Later, they took a brief pause. Liam leaned against a railing, catching his breath, while Kayla stood nearby, arms crossed. The silence was comfortable, different from before. Liam decided to speak. "Kayla," he said softly, "you don't always have to be so guarded. I am not here to cause trouble." Kayla looked at him sharply. "You think I am overly cautious?" "I think you're careful," Liam said with a small smile. "It's understandable. You are responsible for this city and for many lives, but I also think you're human in your own way. You feel more than you let others see." Kayla's eyes widened slightly and she looked away, scanning the city below. Liam realized he had touched a nerve. He had spoken the truth, and she did not know how to respond. "Do not misunderstand me," Kayla said finally, her voice firm again. "I am not weak, I am not human, I have responsibilities that you cannot imagine." "I do not doubt that," Liam said quietly. "But everyone has feelings, even leaders, even you." Kayla was silent for a long moment. Liam could feel her studying him, weighing his words. Then, to his surprise, she spoke differently. "Perhaps you are right. Perhaps I am not as untouchable as I seem, but do not mistake kindness for weakness." "I wouldn't dream of it," Liam replied with a small grin. "I just want to understand you, that's all." For the first time, Kayla did not respond with a sharp warning or a rebuke. She simply nodded, and Liam felt a small victory. Slowly, she was beginning to trust him, not just with work, but with her thoughts, her reactions, and perhaps even her presence. The afternoon brought another challenge. One of the energy conduits had begun to fluctuate unexpectedly, threatening the surveillance system. Liam rushed to stabilize it, while Kayla coordinated the secondary panels. Sparks flew, and the hum of energy grew louder, but they worked together seamlessly. Liam moved close to Kayla to hand her a tool, and this time she did not step back. "You are getting bold," she said quietly, almost teasingly. I am careful, Liam replied, but I do not step back when it matters. Kayla studied him for a moment, then nodded. It was a small gesture, but significant. Liam realized that she was testing him again, not with danger, but with proximity. She wanted to see if he respected her boundaries while still asserting himself. By evening, the secondary systems were fully operational. Liam and Kayla stood side by side, surveying the city. The crystal towers glowed softly in the twin suns' fading light. The energy panels hummed steadily, a sign that their work had succeeded. You have performed well today, Kayla said quietly. You are not like other humans, Liam smiled. I've learned from the best teacher. Kayla blinked at the comment, a flicker of amusement crossing her face. Do not flatter me, she said, but the edge in her voice was gone. They walked back toward the city gates side by side. Liam noticed that Kayla's steps were no longer as rigid, no longer as distant. She was still cautious, still commanding, but there was a new warmth in her presence. Liam felt a thrill. Their bond was growing, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. That night, as Liam prepared for sleep, he thought about the day. Kayla had allowed him closer than ever before, had acknowledged his skill and courage, and had even hinted at trust. He knew tomorrow would bring new challenges, and perhaps new dangers, but he felt ready. He was human, bold, daring, and persistent, and he knew that with every day he was earning a place beside Kayla. He closed his eyes, thinking of her sharp gaze, her commanding presence, and the small flickers of approval he had seen. For the first time, he realized that his connection with Kayla was not just about work or survival, it was personal. He cared about her, and he could feel that she, in some way, cared about him too. And he knew, deep down, that their bond would be tested further. Not just by work or danger, but by choices, trust, and the unpredictable world of Violia. Liam smiled to himself. He was ready. Whatever came next, he would face it head-on. He would protect Kayla, earn her trust, and perhaps in time earn her friendship, or something more. Because humans did not back down. Humans adapted, survived, and found ways to thrive. And Liam Hayes was no ordinary human. The morning on Violia was calm, almost deceptively so. The twin suns rose slowly, casting a warm glow across the crystal towers. Liam Hayes stepped onto the platform near the energy interface, feeling the familiar hum of the city's systems beneath his feet. Everything had been running smoothly since the attack, but he knew better than to trust calm. Danger often came quietly. Kayla was already there, her silver armor glinting in the sunlight. She stood near the main control panel, her arms crossed, eyes scanning the horizon with that sharp, commanding intensity Liam had grown used to. Today, however, there was something different. She seemed alert, almost tense, as if she expected trouble. You are ready, Kayla said, her voice steady but low. I'm ready, Liam replied, adjusting his tools. He had learned much from her, and he knew today's task would be the most difficult yet. Their work for the day involved upgrading the city's defensive systems. The rogue faction had retreated, but Kayla insisted on stronger defenses. Liam followed her precise instructions, connecting energy modules and adjusting conduits. Kayla moved beside him, occasionally giving quick directions, her gaze sharp and constant. Liam had grown used to her presence, but today, every glance felt like a test. As they worked, a sudden vibration shook the platform. Liam stumbled but recovered quickly. Kayla's eyes narrowed. They are back, she said quietly. The rogue faction, they are stronger this time. Liam felt a surge of adrenaline. How many? He asked. Too many to fight alone, Kayla said. We must use the energy systems to defend the city. You will help me stabilize the interface during the attack. I'm ready, Liam said firmly. Within moments, the city's alarms blared and the ground trembled. Flying units descended from the sky, weapons glowing. The rogue faction was attempting a full-scale assault. Liam and Kayla sprang into action. The energy modules they had installed became their weapons, redirecting power, creating protective shields, and blocking the attackers' progress. Sparks flew across the interface as Liam worked, his hands moving quickly and carefully. Kayla's voice called out directions, precise and commanding. Module 12 now, redirect power to the northern barrier. Liam obeyed, connecting the module as quickly as possible. A surge of energy pulsed through the city's shield, blocking a volley of attacks. He could hear explosions in the distance and the shouts of the Violian defenders. Fear was present, but Liam's training and instinct took over. Every step mattered, every choice could save lives. Suddenly, a large energy rod erupted near Kayla again. Liam's heart leapt. Without hesitation, he ran toward her, lifting the heavy metal beam that had fallen from the explosion. He pulled her back to safety just as the rod shattered against the platform. Kayla stumbled, her armor scratched, but she was unharmed. "You are reckless," she shouted, but her voice lacked the usual sharpness. There was worry there, buried beneath the anger. "I am careful," Liam said, panting, "but I will not let anything happen to you." Kayla's eyes widened for a moment, as if surprised by his words. She had grown accustomed to humans being cautious, obedient, or fearful. Liam was neither. He was bold, daring, and willing to risk himself, and she could not deny that he had saved her. The attack intensified. Flying units came in waves, forcing the defenders to retreat or redirect power constantly. Liam and Kayla moved together like a single unit. She directed him, and he acted without hesitation. Sparks flew from the panels, alarms blared, and energy flowed like water through the interface. Liam felt the pressure, but he thrived under it. Fear was a tool, not a chain. At one point, the rogue faction breached the lower platform. Liam climbed carefully, reconnecting a damaged module while Kayla covered him with a protective energy shield. Their hands brushed as they worked in tandem. Liam noticed she did not step back this time. She trusted him, at least enough to work side by side. "You are brave," Kayla said quietly, her voice almost lost in the chaos. "I have to be," Liam replied. "For you, for the city." Kayla's eyes met his for a moment. She said nothing, but her gaze softened. There was a flicker of acknowledgement, a silent understanding that this human was no ordinary worker. He was her partner, in a way she had not allowed anyone to be. The battle reached its peak as the rogue faction aimed for the energy core. Liam and Kayla rushed to stabilize it. Sparks flew, the interface hummed with dangerous energy, and the ground shook beneath them. Liam had to make split-second decisions, rerouting energy, connecting modules, and ensuring the shields remained active. Suddenly, an explosion sent debris flying toward Kayla. Without thinking, Liam shoved her to the side, taking the full impact himself. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he kept moving, adjusting the energy flow. Kayla helped him, her hands steady, guiding his movements. Together, they managed to redirect the final surge of energy, blocking the attack and stabilizing the core. For a moment, everything went quiet. The rogue faction retreated, their forces broken. The city was safe, and the energy system hummed steadily. Liam slumped against the interface platform, exhausted but alive. Kayla looked at him, her eyes wide with surprise and a hint of something deeper, respect, relief, and maybe even admiration. "You," she began, her voice soft. "You saved me." "I would do it again," Liam said quietly, wincing at the pain in his shoulder. "I'll protect you, Kayla, always." Kayla's eyes met his, and for a long moment, silence stretched between them. The city was quiet now, the crystal towers glowing softly in the twin suns' fading light. Liam could feel the tension, the fear, and the bond that had formed over the past days. "You are not like other humans," Kayla said finally. "You are bold, daring, and reckless at times, but you have proven yourself." Liam smiled softly. "And you have proven that even someone as strong as you can trust me." Kayla looked away for a moment, then back at him. "Do not misunderstand me. I am still cautious, but you have earned my respect, perhaps even more than respect." Liam felt a thrill run through him. Her words were careful, but they carried weight. She had allowed him closer than anyone else, even in the middle of danger. She had recognized his courage, his skill, and perhaps his heart. As they descended from the platform, Liam noticed how the Violian defenders looked at him differently. Some were wary, some curious, and some seemed impressed. Humans were rarely this brave, and Liam had proven that boldness and courage could stand alongside alien skill. Kayla walked beside him, close but still reserved. Liam realized that their bond had shifted. It was no longer just work or survival. It was something personal, a connection forged through danger, trust, and shared experience. That night, the city safe and the energy systems fully operational, Liam and Kayla stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing towers. The twin suns had set, leaving the sky full of stars. Liam could feel the tension, the thrill, and the quiet understanding between them. "You were reckless today," Kayla said softly, almost teasingly, "but you saved lives, including mine." "I'm glad I did," Liam replied. "I couldn't let anything happen to you, not after everything we've been through." Kayla studied him for a moment. "You are persistent. You do not give up. Perhaps that is what makes humans remarkable." Liam smiled. "We survive, Kayla. That's what humans do. We find a way." For a long moment they stood in silence, watching the city below. Liam realized that the bond they had formed was stronger than he had expected. It was built on courage, trust, and shared challenges. And for the first time, he felt that Kayla might feel something similar. Finally, Kayla spoke. "You have earned more than respect." I trust you, Liam, perhaps more than I should." Liam's heart raced. "I won't betray that trust," he said quietly. "I promise." Kayla's eyes softened, and for the first time, she allowed a small gesture of warmth. She touched his arm lightly, a simple, brief contact, but enough to speak volumes. Liam felt the electricity of the moment, the connection between them, and knew that this bond would shape the days to come. "Tomorrow," Kayla said, "we continue with the remaining defenses." "But tonight we rest," Liam nodded. "Yes, tonight we rest." As they stood together, watching the stars over the Crystal City, Liam knew one thing with certainty. Humans could survive, adapt, and even thrive in the most alien of worlds. And he had proven that boldness, courage, and a willingness to act could bridge the gap between species, hearts, and worlds. Kayla turned to him once more, her sharp gaze now softened with quiet acknowledgement. "You are human. You are remarkable." Liam smiled, knowing that their story was only beginning. Whatever challenges came next, he would face them, not just as a human, but as someone Kayla trusted, someone who had earned a place by her side. And in the quiet glow of the crystal towers, Liam realized that sometimes boldness and courage could do more than survive. They could change worlds.